On a night where stars danced across the sky, the destinies of two separate universes converged at a single point. In a secret laboratory within the DC universe, scientists were experimenting with godlike energies, working on a gateway to other dimensions. It was an attempt to build a bridge between worlds. But the result was an uncontrollable rift in time and space. Meanwhile, beyond galaxies in a distant star system, Ahsoka Tano was following a mysterious calling. She felt a disturbance in the Force. Something unnatural was drawing her in. And in a blinding flash of energy, she vanished. For her, a journey had begun. For us, the moment of collision between two worlds was approaching. The sky tore open, and like a falling star, Ahsoka Tano's body crashed into the forests near Themyscira. Diana, also known as Wonder Woman, set out to investigate this strange phenomenon in order to protect her people. But instead of an enemy, she found another warrior, cautious, with lightsabers at the ready. Ahsoka, trying to make sense of this foreign world, sensed the power and noble presence of the figure before her. Though she took a defensive stance, she couldn't yet tell who was friend or foe. The first encounter between the two warriors was laced with silent tension. Power and divine might were face to face for the very first time. Both warriors were symbols of justice and order in their own worlds. Ahsoka had grown up following the Jedi path, a system rooted in peace, self-discipline, and service. But she had also seen the dark side of that system, and experienced firsthand the cost of blind obedience. For her, justice no longer stemmed from doctrine, but from the courage to do what was right. Diana, on the other hand, was an Amazon princess trained by the gods. In her eyes, justice wasn't just about punishing the guilty, it was about maintaining the balance of the world. Strength in the right hands is a responsibility, she said, her voice gentle but resolute. Ahsoka disagreed. No matter how a system is defined, the wrongs committed in its name can never represent what is right. The forest was silent, but their words sliced through the air like blades. Ahsoka and Diana weren't just confronting each other's beliefs, they were laying bare their worlds. Diana said, "When the order of the universe is broken, perhaps it must be reshaped." Her eyes gazed toward the horizon. To her, this gateway might be the herald of a new age. Ahsoka stepped back and looked directly at Diana. "I've seen too many worlds reshaped," she said. "All of them ended in pain. Power doesn't always bring good." These words were a warning. She had lived through the collapse of order, she knew its cost. Diana's silence reflected the weight of her thoughts. The growing rift shimmered in the sky, straining the fabric of the universe. Ahsoka could feel the chaos it stirred within the Force. "This gateway must be closed before it turns into a tear that consumes entire worlds," she said. Her mission was clear. The threat was real. Waiting would only bring more catastrophe. But Diana saw it differently. Every trial comes to fulfill a purpose. "Perhaps this convergence is a destined point of balance," she replied. To her, this event was part of a divine test. Ahsoka's certainty clashed with Diana's faith. A choice had to be made. But which path was the right one? As night falls, the forest is split by light. Ahsoka Tano wields her twin white lightsabers with a musical fluidity. Each strike is shaped by years of discipline and instinct. Trained in the Jedi ways, she uses power not to attack, but to bring balance. She moves swiftly, using branches and stones around her as if they were part of the choreography. Rather than retreating from Diana's every move, she redirects with the grace of a dancer. The glow of the sabers pierces the darkness. This is more than a battle. It is Ahsoka's rediscovery of her own identity. Once a rebel to the Jedi Order, she now walks her own path. And this fight is a test of how firm that path truly is. Each movement is not just survival, but a search for meaning. Diana is fighting on Themysciran soil, her world, her rules. The lasso of truth slices through the air like a glowing golden ribbon, trying to ensnare Ahsoka. Each swing is a warning. Diana is not just fighting, she's trying to stop, even persuade her opponent. But Ahsoka refuses the bond. Every time the lasso finds an opening, Diana presses her advantage, striking with her shield at lightning speed, pressing with her sword. Physically, Diana is clearly superior. Every step shakes the earth, every block is a fortress. She strikes with the might of a warrior empowered by the gods. But within her, there is hesitation, because the figure before her is more than an enemy. She is a warrior too. A believer, just like herself. As the battle intensifies, Diana's physical dominance becomes undeniable. Each blow seems to carry the weight of the heavens. But Ahsoka does not yield to the pressure. Her strength lies in her agility, her intelligence, and above all, the Force. Suddenly, she leaps, lifting a fallen tree with the Force and hurling it into Diana's path. With gravity-defying maneuvers, she ascends to places Diana cannot reach, then dives back down to launch fresh attacks. Both women begin to tire, but neither yields. This is no longer just a clash, it is a war of philosophies. Diana stands for order and sacred duty. Ahsoka for personal will and intuitive justice. Each recognizes that the other might be right, yet neither backs down. The fight appears balanced, but on a spiritual level, it is a struggle lived in two entirely different universes. As the intensity of the battle reaches its peak, an unnoticed detail begins to grow. The hum of the lightsabers, Diana's divine strikes, each blow widens the crack in the fabric of spacetime. Suddenly, it feels as though the sky is tearing apart. Blue, purple, and gold swirl together as the uncontrolled portal to other universes begins to expand. Both warriors step back. The battle is no longer a path to victory, it has become the herald of a greater catastrophe. Ahsoka's expression hardens, she feels the imbalance in the Force. Diana, as if hearing the whispers of nature and the gods, turns her gaze to the sky. They both realize, continuing this fight will only bring ruin. Ahsoka drops to her knees and places her hands on the ground. She feels the fractures rippling through the Force. This is not just a physical rift, it is a rupture where universes are bleeding into one another. "This is because of us," she whispers. Diana approaches not with anger, but with a sense of duty. She loosens her lasso and steps out of her battle stance. Their eyes meet. "I wanted to protect Themyscira, but this is something greater," Diana says. Ahsoka nods. Though their pasts are different, the outcome is the same. This crisis is of their making. And now, it is theirs to stop. In the silence between fire and light, a decision is made. Their hands no longer reach for weapons, but for unity. Ahsoka closes her eyes and focuses on the Force. "I need to balance the inner energy. If I can find the stable frequency, I can stabilize the rift." Diana nods and steps forward. "Then I'll become the anchor. I'll pin myself to the balance of the universe and draw the vibrations onto me to shield you." They make a plan. There is no chain of command, no ego. Only mutual respect and a shared purpose. This is the birth of an alliance. And perhaps, the salvation of the universe is being forged in this moment. Diana rises into the air, her lasso of truth spinning around her like a golden halo. Ahsoka approaches the center of the rift. With every step, she feels the Force more deeply. The ground beneath her seems to tremble at the edge of existence. Time slows, reality bends. Ahsoka's hands rise gently. Her lightsabers remain unlit, but her inner energy is fully awakened. The energy field spinning around Diana pulls the tremors of the cosmos onto her. Now, these two are no longer just warriors. They are the balancers standing on the edge of the cosmos. And what awaits them is a fate not yet concluded. Just when everything seemed to be under control, a deeper threat began to rise. Ahsoka had managed to stabilize the rift's energy through the Force, and Diana had channeled celestial energy like a cosmic axis. But the convergence of universes was not limited to space and time, it had awakened something deeper, darker. An invisible wave of energy radiated from the rift, followed by a formless shadow slowly taking shape. The vengeful features of Darth Sidious merged with a wrathful silhouette of Ares. This being was like a chaotic god, born from the disruption of interdimensional balance. The evil of two worlds fused into a single will. Ahsoka narrowed her eyes as she sensed the being's aura. This was not the Force, it was pure, corrupted will. Diana, through divine instinct, immediately recognized that what stood before them was more than just a physical threat. This creature carried the inner darkness of both universes. Their mission was no longer just to seal the rift, but to stop it. Otherwise, everything could begin to unravel once more. The first attack came in a surge of raw energy. The dark entity descended with lightning-like magical strikes that pierced the sky. Diana raised her shield, and Ahsoka swung her lightsaber. The moment of impact was like the birth of a star. The explosive wave of energy shook the forest. Using the Force, Ahsoka began analyzing the entity's energy flows. She started sensing its weak points beyond her physical senses. Diana, risking herself, launched distracting attacks to buy Ahsoka time. Their coordination quickly turned into a seamless team effort. Diana's lasso of truth disrupted the creature's magical balance, while Ahsoka channeled her inner power to break apart the dark energy. The clash between lightsabers and divine weapons reached near mythical proportions. When Diana's raw strength combined with Ahsoka's agility, the enemy began to lose its footing. But this battle wouldn't be won by brute force or light alone. It required strategy. Ahsoka glanced at Diana for a split second. "Now," she said. At that moment, both were ready for the final strike. Ahsoka positioned herself near the heart of the rift, lifting her hands as her eyes closed. She channeled all her strength to restore balance to the universes. Diana rose into the sky, her lasso spinning like lightning, gathering celestial energy. They struck in unison, Ahsoka driving her lightsaber into the creature's weak point while Diana's sacred lasso wrapped around the dark silhouette. In a brief but seemingly endless moment, the entity let out a final scream before dissolving, and the rift rapidly began to collapse. The sky calmed, energy vibrations faded into silence. As the universes separated once more, Ahsoka and Diana remained standing, exhausted but resolute. Words were no longer necessary between them. Whether it was fate or chance that brought them together remained unknown. But one thing was certain: two warriors from two different worlds had stood united against the darkness and saved the cosmos. And now, they were ready to return to their own worlds, though perhaps they would never truly forget each other. As the fractured sky slowly mends, the intergalactic rift begins to fade. The surrounding waves of energy settle, and amidst the devastation, a calm is born. Ahsoka's eyes are turned toward the heavens. The vibrations of the Force whisper to her that it is time to return. Diana approaches her with slow, heavy steps. Both are exhausted, but on their faces lie the marks of a shared victory and mutual understanding. Ahsoka is the first to break the silence. "Our galaxies are different. Our paths, our beliefs, even our destinies. But for a moment here, we fought the same battle for the same cause. That must mean something." Diana gently nods, her eyes still gazing into the distance. "Meaning lies not only in victory, but in the struggle shared. Fighting beside someone like you has given me a new perspective. Your force may be different, but your heart beats just like ours." As the wind softly drifts in from the shores of Themyscira, they meet each other's gaze. The silence now carries the weight of farewell. Ahsoka lowers her voice with a faint smile. "You would have made a great Jedi." Diana adjusts the shield on her shoulder and responds warmly. "And you, a daughter of Themyscira." They share a moment of eye contact. Respect, admiration, and friendship have now become a bond beyond words. Then, Ahsoka walks toward the last flickers of the rift. Diana lingers behind, watching her with quiet reverence. Light envelopes Ahsoka, and for a few heartbeats, everything stops. Then, with a familiar shimmer, she vanishes into silence. Diana is left alone. But in that solitude now remain the traces of a friend from another galaxy.